Hey everybody, welcome to Q&A Wednesday, where I answer the questions that you have about your health and fitness goals. And today we are talking about why it's so easy to eat junk. So, by the way, I am inside tonight because it is just hot today. Yesterday I took the kids and we went to a local berry farm. It was awesome, but we were dripping by the time we were done. So I kind of thought about it and went, do I want to sit outside? Yeah, I guess I'm going to sit against a white wall, but that's all right. So we're going to talk about why it's so easy to eat junk. Now, by junk, I just mean junk food. Obviously, that's anything that is, kind of unhealthy for us for whatever reason. We'll kind of get into that a little bit because, of course, there's more to it. But you all know what I mean. Like, it's so easy to eat, and not just start eating it, but to continue to eat it until we've obviously eaten more than we should. So, once in a while, it's not a big deal. The problem is for, at least for me, once I start eating something that's like high sugar, highly processed, I really struggle to stop. So that becomes the problem. Now, there is actual science behind that. There's a reason behind it. There's multiple reasons why it's very difficult to stop eating and really easy to eat junk food because, well, we'll talk about that in just a second. So thanks for jumping on tonight. I know that's a little crazy still out there. And so, anything we can do to kind of better our lives and really improve our health right now would be highly helpful, right? Because we're trying to do the best we can to avoid getting sick. And we want to be able to, at least I want to be able to work when the time comes. So let's talk a little bit about it. Now, first of all, one of the things that we have to talk about is that the food that we're talking about, majority of it, fast food to an extent, but also things that you purchase at the store, anything that was in the picture that I posted with the topic tonight, which is, anything that's bagged, boxed, we're talking chips, candy, soda pop, those kind of things. There's a whole science behind trying to addict us to those flavors because they want us to purchase more. So there are whole science labs that are dedicated to each of those food companies that specifically build flavors to try and addict us to it. Now, there's a couple things that they're looking for. Number one is they need to be highly palatable, which means they need to taste good, right? I mean, that's why. That's even some people posted, it's because they taste good. Yeah, like I said, there's something behind that. They call it the bliss point, right? It's the perfect flavoring where we want to keep eating it, but not so much that it overdoes it. Case in point, when I was in junior high, I used to work, this was when I lived in Southern California for a little while. And I used to work at the snack bar, and every day we got food for working at the snack bar. That's how we were paid. And I would eat a small bag of ranch Doritos. Now, of course, I did that for a very long time. Now, eventually I got to the point where I couldn't eat those anymore because they made me sick. But in general, it took a long time. Like, I ate a bag of those almost every day. Now, I didn't know then what I know now, and I would never do that. But they're designed that way. They want you, you've heard kind of the theme, I bet you can't eat just one. There's something behind that. They are specifically designed to be, again, hyper palatable, which means they taste so good that you want to keep eating them. So that's reason number one. They're designed to taste good. They want not only the flavor, but the mouth feel. If you notice, a lot of those have the texture, right? If you remember in the 90s when they made everything very, low fat, because all of a sudden fat caused fat, which is, of course, garbage. Hi, Anna. They took out the fat, but they added sugar. But the problem they were having was also that they were really struggling with the mouthfeel. Without that fat, that extra texture of the fat, it made it very difficult to find ways to make the texture tastes good and for you to want to eat more. So you'll notice that they try to make products look healthy by making them either low fat or low sugar, but they don't do very well to do both, because one thing that you'll notice is when you do buy something that is low fat, low sugar, it doesn't taste good, right? And so obviously it makes it very difficult to not only sell more to you, but you don't want to purchase more. So that does not make them money. So there is something about the addicting flavors that they have. They want you to purchase more, and so it is designed specifically to make you purchase more. So that's number one. It just tastes good, right? Number two, we've talked about, oh, sorry, I saw someone on the ceiling. They've talked about empty calories, right? Empty calories just literally means that there's calories there, but there's really no nutrients. And, in order for us to be optimal, we need to eat nutrients. Now we're talking about like vitamins, minerals. There should be something behind that, because there's definite downsides to the deficiency in a lot of those vitamins and minerals and nutrients. So a lot of those processed foods, even though they might be enriched, which is garbage, right? Because number one, even if they're enriched, they're synthetic vitamins and minerals. They're not going to be actual whole food options. So who's to say you're even absorbing them? Because it's not what you eat, it's what you absorb, right? So I find that a really poor attempt to make that healthy, but really there's not a lot of nutrients there. And so you'll notice when you tend to eat junk food, right, things that are empty calorie, you tend to not have that desire to stop eating them. And there's something behind that. Your body craves nutrients, and it will stay hungry until you've actually satisfied the body or your body with the nutrients that you need. So if you're not getting those nutrients through the foods that you eat, you will continue to be hungry. There is something behind that. You have hormones in your body that tell you, hey, I'm hungry, or hey, I'm full. And those hormones do not manifest themselves when you are not producing or giving your body the nutrients that it needs, because it has no reason to. You're still hungry. You still need those nutrients. So it's kind of like when you eat like a steak and potatoes, and if somebody offered you more steak, you're like, ugh, I can't eat anymore. I'm so full, right? Because again, you're eating enough to trigger those hormones that say, look, you're full, right? So there really is something behind that. If you pay attention to the things that you eat, anything that is a whole food, you'll find you fill up. I love cucumbers. Cucumbers are my favorite because number one, they're crunchy, so they have a texture. But number two, they make me feel full quickly. And of course, they're water dense too, which is great. Get some extra hydration there. But they're really good at providing you some vitamins, some minerals. And you don't need to eat a ton of them to feel satisfied. So that's part of it, is what do you still need in order for your body to be satisfied with the nutrients that you need to be optimal, right? So yeah, and you tend to be hungry until you find that. Number 3, notice that there's been a lot of information out there about high fructose corn syrup, and even a lot of companies, knowing that we now know that that's not healthy for us, have started to take away that ingredient out of their product. And there's a huge reason for that. High fructose corn syrup is even worse than sugar. First of all, it really confuses your body. Your body produces 2 hormones. Number 1 is ghrelin. That's the hunger hormone that tells you, hey, you're hungry, you need more fuel. You also have a hormone called leptin, which is produced predominantly from your fat, and it tells you, hey, you're full, you don't need any more food. Well, the problem with high fructose corn syrup is it confuses these hormones, and so all of a sudden, you don't know when you're full or when you're hungry. Like, your body's confused. So unfortunately, it teaches your body to send the wrong signals or to not send them at all when you tend to ingest products that have high fructose corn syrup. And you'd be surprised. Sometimes products you wouldn't even imagine have those products. You look at the ingredient list, you're like, oh my word, like at what point did they think that was an okay option? So you have to learn not just to read the nutrition label, you have to read the ingredient list. I don't even pay much attention to the nutrition label anymore. The first thing I do is I flip that puppy over and I look at the ingredient list, because I'm looking for some very specific things that if it contains these things, it is not a product that I want in my household. So that is something to think about. Number 4, of course, sugar addiction. And I know multiple people also mentioned this. It's an addicting substance, because here's what happens. It actually teaches your body to release dopamine, which is the feel-good hormone. And when it does, like, it feels good, right? When you eat something that's high in sugar, you're like, oh, this feels so great. Like, you have energy and you feel good momentarily. It lights up the same part of your brain as cocaine. Like, that's a true study thing. Like, really, it's a thing. So unfortunately, it's a legal substance, and they put it in everything. And sometimes you don't even realize it's in things because they hide it, right? There are like a ridiculous amount of terms that mean sugar, right? They can put it in different ways. So all of a sudden you don't realize that product actually not just has sugar, but it has multiple forms of sugar. Things like agave syrups, or even if it says organic, that doesn't equal healthy. Like, that just means that it was grown with synthetic pesticides. It means they used natural pesticides, not synthetic. It doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy. So I don't love that they throw that term around and they make you think, wow, that's a healthy product. So whenever you have products that have a lot of sugar in it, it's addicting. And if you've ever tried to come off sugar, which most of us have, and we've actually had sugar withdrawals, it is a thing. You get headaches, you feel fatigue, you get kind of fuzzy, you can't think straight. There's really headaches. Like, that's the one I get, headaches. There's something behind that. So again, it's unfortunate that we eat a ridiculous amount of sugar here in the United States, and it's a problem, right? And I've talked about in the past where, especially right now where we've got this virus going around, unfortunately, 1 teaspoon of sugar actually suppresses your immune system by 50% for up to several hours. So again, it's a problem. right? Now, if it was one of those things that you have a little bit here or there, then and you're good, you're fine. And that's the way back when our ancestors, when it was only like through fruit, that they would eat it. But of course, today it's in everything. It's really hard to escape it. I mean, if you take a look at your spaghetti sauce, your ketchup, your salad dressings, things you wouldn't even think, mayonnaise. And if you look at a container of iodized salt, it actually contains dextrose. So again, you'd be fascinated. If you just start paying attention, you learn, wow, it's in a lot of products that we didn't realize. And the last one I want to talk about is that it's cheap, right? Junk food is cheap. You buy a bag of chips, a soda pop, 2 liter of soda pop, and a candy bar for under $10, right? You go to buy some healthy food, it's going to be a lot more than that. Now, I kind of look at it as this. At some point, I kind of look at it as my insurance, my health insurance, that if I eat healthy, I'm going to spend less in being sick over time and time off work and those things that come down from having side effects of being ill from eating unhealthy foods. But most of us don't think that way. But it's cheaper. We walk in a store and we can pick up several things, go home, and we think it's a meal when actually it's a problem. So, it's just something to think about. I get it. Like I said, I'm not immune to eating my feelings. And once I start eating sugar, I can't stop. So I get those issues. Just keep in mind that we want you to be healthy. And there's a reason behind it. So it has to be a very specific, focused effort of not eating those products. And the rule at my house that works really great is, it's fine if people in my household, like if they're going to eat it, that's their choice. It has to be personal choice. But don't bring it home, because especially when I get stressed out, I don't want to be searching for that chocolate. So hopefully you have an incredible week, you guys. I know that it is still difficult for a lot of us out there. Apparently we're in phase 1.5, but going backwards, and I don't even understand that one. So not even gonna tell you what I think about that. But do the best you can. You know what? It's just another obstacle. It is possible to be healthy even in some of the craziest circumstances. So have an incredible night, you guys. If you have questions, please ask. I get my very best ideas from you. You can also look back and watch every other Q&A Wednesday I've ever done on my YouTube channel under Fillmore Fitness. Hop on there and see what you can find. There's some great education. It costs you nothing. All you have to do is listen. So have a great night, you guys. That is Q&A Wednesday. We'll talk to you later.